'Tis I.
Hey everyone, glad to see you back, glad to see you looking fresh, and welcome back to my Humongous Entertainment retrospective. And today, we are looking at the second Putt-Putt game in the adventure series, Putt-Putt Goes to the Moon. Now, let's roll the intro.
Work on the floor, but you put yourself in orbit. Putt-Putt goes to the moon. And when you get there, you'll have lots of fun. But we hope you'll come back soon. We're glad that you're happy, but Putt-Putt make it snappy. Putt-Putt, come back from the moon.
So Putt-Putt Goes to the Moon is about Putt-Putt. Again, who would have thought? Putt-Putt and Pep. As you can see, Pep is immediately with us in the beginning of the game, and he is with us for the rest of the series, which I think is a really nice little detail that the game just doesn't forget, that you got a puppy in the first game, and it continues throughout the rest of the series. This game ramps up the stakes quite high. We start this game, we're going to see Mr. Firebird in his fireworks factory, and we get to make some fireworks, and that's kind of neat. And there's this big do not pull lever, which, wouldn't you know it, we're gonna end up pulling. And that is a rocket that shoots us all the way into space. And because we're in space, the next closest celestial body is the moon. And so that's where we're heading. So we land on the moon. It's not like a joke. We're on the moon now. Just a car and a dog in space. And we meet some locals and we meet some other tourists. There's a family of mice that are so nonchalant about the experience.
Do you know the way back to Earth?
No, we just got here. We're from Kansas.
They're from Kansas. And they don't seem to mind that they're on the moon and they don't know how to get home. But they're here for the experience. And it is your job as Putt-Putt to try to find a way to get home. And along the journey, you meet a character called Rover, who is the lunar rover from the manned mission to the moon. The same one that there are people in this game. You don't see their faces, but you see their silhouettes, and that's a little bit heavy for this game franchise to talk about. It's like, yeah, Rover was just left here for years, decades. You know, this game came out in the 90s, so it still had been decades at that point that Rover was just sitting there waiting for somebody. But, you know, Rover, he's lived in this town of other aliens. He's the only car that Putt-Putt meets, so he's the only good friend that he picks up along the way. But I always liked Rover a lot. I played this game late. I never played this game as a kid, so I was already at least in college when I played this game for the first time. Even then, Rover's story touched me emotionally, so I think it's to resonate strongly with kids especially. So to get home, you find a rocket ship manned by two aliens, or maybe it's one alien with two heads. We'll find out later. And they tell you that you need to buy this rocket ship for 10 moon crystals. You need to also fix it, because apparently the rocket is in disarray, and they're aware it's in disarray, but they don't care because they're selling ice cream. So we need to get a nose cone. That's pretty important. A steering wheel and a key to start the bad boy up. And we're off to get our pieces. And we go to different places. There's like a little diner that you can play a little arcade game with a teddy bear, which if you're a fan of Humongous Entertainment, you will recognize, and we will get to his game eventually. We can also change our color only briefly this time, and instead of the last game where you could change it for the rest of the game, we could go see the governor of the moon, and he'll give us a key for a good deed. And our good deed is to go back to where we met Rover and pull a little alien out of the river of moon goo, and we just go tell the governor, hey, we did a good deed. It's not even like the alien goes and tells the governor for us. We just go back and, hey, we did a good deed, and the governor will give us a key, because keys are for good doers. Okay, so that's our lesson for this game. That's our education part of our edutainment for the day, is that do good things and people will give you keys for them. Good. We have a key, and oh, I forgot, we need rocket fuel too, of course. We can't fly a rocket without fuel. So we have to go find the man who runs the rocket fuel gas pump because it's not running. He's in the apartments and we have to bounce around because he can't seem to sit still. He looks like the gummy bear from that old YouTube gummy bear video. If you remember that, I might be dating myself by saying that, but that's immediately what he reminded me of. He'll give you the rocket fuel. Rover is also wanting to get home, obviously, because of his sad story. And he's willing to help. Like, he's not just going to sit around and be like, all right, go find the things. He found one of them for us. He found the steering wheel. And there's not really a puzzle. It's pretty simple. It's probably the easiest one in the game. Rover will pick you up. You pick Pep up. Pep will grab the steering wheel. You're good to go. Rover then says, I've done my part. I'm going to go pack. So he's out. He's going to go pack. Awesome, Rover. Appreciate your help, bro. And then we continue along our way, and we go find some aliens who really want to play.
Would you like to play alien tag?
And they'll pay you. They'll be like, you play tag with us, we'll pay. And they do. They pay up. I remember this part, when the first time I played it, I didn't get a perfect score, so I didn't get paid half the moon crystals, because you're supposed to get 10 to pay the rocket, right? And they'll give you 5 based on the amount of points you get. If you get perfect score, they'll give you 5, and then 4 and 3, vice versa. For some reason, I messed up, and I remember having to play this game 3 times, so I guess my gameplay skills were terrible a few years ago, because I nailed it both times this time. 5s both, perfect score, played it twice, got the moon crystals, life's good.
Want to play alien tag again?
No, thank you.
We're moving on. We're going to see the man in the moon? The man on the moon? He's a man and he's a moon. He wants a picture of himself, which lo and behold, Rover gave me one of those when I met the guy. That was his trade-off for, like, I'll give you this picture if you take me home. And I was like, that's good enough for me. So the man on the moon, in the moon, whatever, is like, I want a picture of myself. He's a little bit full of himself, I suppose. And I'll give you this nose cone of the rocket that I have for some reason. That's his whole character. He's like, give me a picture. He doesn't have much else to say. So you do that, and you get a nose cone, and life's good. And you're moving on with your day. There's also a cave in the beginning of the game, which I forgot to click on until I went back way later. And apparently it's just a hide-and-seek for Pep, because Pep longs for the caves that you took him from. No, it's just a fun little thing that, it's like a maze that you'd find on the back of a cereal box or something. I just zoned right past it. I did it once. First time I played it, it's nothing. It's for funsies, and that's about it. So yeah, that's Putt-Putt Goes to the Moon. It's not very long. None of these games are very long, but it is longer than the first game, like a good 10 minutes or so. It took me a half an hour to beat this game. That's with knowing everything. I only played this game once, but it's not very hard. Once you know the puzzles, you're pretty set. This game, I do think it's much better. The music is better. The environment is better. I think it's more creative because they're not sticking to just cars. There's different looking aliens and creatures to find, and they do a great car. They do Mr. Firebird, which is a weird little guy who just makes rockets in his fireworks factory. They also do Rover, who's another great dude. I like both of these characters. They're much more memorable than the characters from the last game, so that's a big plus. I think Putt-Putt Goes to the Moon is a big step up, and I am glad to have played it again. I don't know if I'll play this game again ever. That might be a bit lofty to say. I will probably play it again at some point, but it's not one that I'm going to return to a lot because I didn't play it as a kid, so nostalgia is not there. I do think it's quite good, and if you like this DOS style, this more pixely style, which we will lose soon, then this one might be the best one that has that older style. So it is great. I did enjoy it. It is on the shorter side of this entire franchise, but glad to have played it again.
Putt-Putt, you're back! We were worried about you, little fella.
I hope you're all right.
Oh, I'm just fine. I had quite a day. And the best part was I brought home a new friend.
The name's Rover.
So that was Putt-Putt Goes to the Moon. a great little game that pushes the Putt-Putt franchise forward. It's a big step up for Humongous Entertainment. Did you play Putt-Putt Goes to the Moon as a kid? Have you played it recently? Please, by all means, let me know. And that'll about do it for this entry in the Humongous Entertainment retrospective. Please go back and watch the first episode if you have not already. And if you're watching this in the future, go ahead and continue along your journey to all the games we have in this franchise. Thank you so very much for watching. As always, like this if you like this, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you at some point.